basic, you now get to know how to improvise, develop your own recipe. For today, this is a sample of what we call pillow donuts. It's so bouncy, and it's called donut because it is a dough looking like what? A nut. Donut. How many donuts do I say we have? We have the ring donut that looks like this, right? We have the pillow donut, right? We have the twisted donuts, and we have donuts with fillings. All these ones are donuts that don't have fillings. The ones that have fillings, they can be the milky donut, they can be the chocolate donut, they can be the, which other donut do you know? Jam donut. Which other donuts do you know? Strawberry donuts. Which one again? Coconut donut. Yeah, those ones are topped one with sprinkles. You know, this is the pillow donut. This is the example we have here. This is the pillow donuts here. Now, the major and basic ingredients of donut making, before I go further, I'll ask you a question to see if you are following me. This donut making now, the rising agent is called yeast. This is the example. This is how you see many types of yeast. This is one way you see yeast. Yeast is a very important component. Yeast is a living organism. It's a human organism. Living organism is something that has breath, that breathes, that respiration. Mr. Nanjaji, he performs it. The reason why we call yeast a living organism is because it is a microorganism. Microorganisms feed on something. Human beings feed on something, right? So this yeast is a microorganism. It feeds on sugar. That's why it's a living organism, but in a small level. So it is very important to understand the impact of this yeast in the production of donuts. Yeast has to be kept and stored well if it's not going to die, if it's going to be active. It must also always be stored in a sealed container. When you pour it inside, immediately you pour it in a sealed container, tighten it well so that the air will not cause it to lose its strength. Just like human beings do, if you stay in a cold place, you could get cold. If you stay in a hot place, you could contract fever. So the temperature in which yeast stays is important. It must be consistent. Yeast must work with warm water, not hot water. Yeast must always be in a cool environment and tightly sealed. It must not be opened, exposed to air. Do's and don'ts of making sure yeast has a long active use in your pastries. Warm water is very important in use of yeast. Make sure your yeast is well kept and sealed. Don't leave it open, always tight because of the air. And in production of bread and bread and donuts, it is yeast that we use as the rising agent. Yeast are for donuts and yeast for bread. See the bread, see how it bounces up. So also these pillow donuts, they have to bounce up. So what kind of flour do you think we're going to use? That we need it to bounce up. We need it to give volume for donuts and bread, that we need to bounce up. Huh? Hard flour, very good. Hard flour, because if it's not hard flour, it won't bounce up, it won't bring out the texture and the outcome. You know, people, the first impression for somebody to want to believe in you is how you appear. So the appearance of your donuts must be bulky, and it's only hard flour, which contains the protein called gluten, right? Good. And bread is also the same thing, because we need it to have body. See, not only is it succulent, it's bouncing up, it's not flat. That capacity to do that is due to the kind of flour we use. Sometimes people mix it. You can use hard and soft, wanting the texture of the flour to be soft, at the same time bouncing up. At the same time, bouncing up. Good. So that is why we have this protein gluten being very, very essential, right? So don't mix it up. Rising agent for cake, rising agent for chin chin, and pastries like buns. No, not buns. Buns, some people mix it, but buns is all those three are we use baking powder. Now this is baking powder. We have different types. This is baking powder. Yeast for bread and donut and what other things do you think needs rising in the African snacks that we have? Very good. The African snack for puff needs yeast, not baking powder, right? And you can use hard flour for all pastries, but it's preferable to use soft flour for conventional products like cake. And it is better for you to use yeast. Yeast rising products. Most products that need yeast, working with the yeast, most of the flour that you use when you are working with the yeast is hard flour. Hard flour. Why? Because it contains gluten, which is a protein found in hard flour. Am I understood? Okay. So that is the significant difference between yeast and baking powder and where not to use it for different products. Okay. The ingredients that you need to note, the basic ingredients. You can add other spices of your choice, but the basic ingredients that bring you what is needed in donuts are those that are, I'm giving you the ingredients now. 1, flour. It could be hard, it could be soft, because this is donuts, it's pastries, or you could mix it. Flour, sugar, margarine. Egg is optional. When I say optional, it's not essential, because commercial purposes people will not want to use egg, so it's optional. And milk too is optional, but the basic ones are flour, margarine, water, sugar.
No, but you can also put egg.
Egg is optional, yes, you can. The egg makes, and I'll tell you the function of each one now. Why you need to use egg. Egg is important for one reason. It gives the volume, it gives a lighter texture for texture's sake, for volume's sake, because it's a wet ingredient. Oil is also optional, because you could also use water in place. It makes your donuts light and fluffy. But oil is not preferable, because oil helps the lifespan of the pastry. Most of the time, most baked product that you put oil in makes the pastry last longer. If not, you are still going to water is compulsory. Warm water. Note that. Why did I say
Warm water?
Why? Because the yeast needs warm water to act, to survive. If not, if it's cold water, yeast will never ever do its work. Yeast needs warm water. Warm water that I'm talking about is not hot water. You put your hand and it's paining me. No. Warm water that will cool your nerves and it is not too hot. You can still put your hand there. That's warm water. Be very careful of it. If not, if you put hot water, you kill the yeast and the action of the yeast is gone. You wonder, why did my bread not rise now? Why? You were not accurate about the water. Because yeast is eating sugar. That's what it needs to survive. Sugar is the fuel. But when you put your hand inside the warm water, it must be warm. It will not be hot, and it must be warm. It will not be too cold. It will not make any effect. Am I understood? Good. Now, in bread making and donut making, they are very similar. They are similar. The difference is their rising time, their preparation, their method. And one is baked, one is fried. This one is baked, this one is fried. Because their preparation method is also different. So that one is when we get to the class. But right now, I just want you to write all the ingredients. The egg, what it's used for, I told you what it's used for. The vegetable oil, why is important, the water, why is important, the flour, why should be the flour, the yeast that is used, then flavor of your choice. You could have any kind of flavor. You could have natural spices like nutmeg, cinnamon, those are natural spices. You could have artificial flavoring like pineapple flavor, banana flavor, coconut flavor, depending on your choice. But don't use more than 2 to 3 flavors. Too much flavor will contradict each other, and you will not just, it just tastes so awkward, and it could even become sour.
Yes.
When you mix certain flavors together that don't rhyme, so you have to be careful. If you want to stick to nutmeg, stick to nutmeg. If you want to mix it, normally cinnamon goes with any spice. Cinnamon is not, it doesn't sound alone. Cinnamon stick, you can grate that cinnamon stick. Do you still have cinnamon stick? Have you seen cinnamon stick before? You don't, okay, not really, but you see nutmeg before. Okay, so I'll show you an example of what a cinnamon stick is as we go on, and what a nutmeg is. We grate it. Some are in powder form, but the concentrated ones are the ones that you see naturally. The stick and the nutmeg. Those ones are very concentrated and they are better because they give more, the flavor comes out better. So I advise nutmeg, the natural nutmeg, grate it. The seed and the stick, the cinnamon stick. Or you can use any other flavor of your choice, but those ones have higher concentration of sugar, which should, for children and for adults and for the world we live in now, pastries can be sweet but not sugary. We try to avoid sugary pastries. Despite this, but the sweetness is always there. It's supposed to be sweet. So to avoid being too sugary, the concentration of your artificial flavors. Am I understood now? Good. Any question? Any question? Okay. So the last snack you'll be making is pie. Pies. There are different types of pie. We have chicken pie. We have meat pie. I will classify sausage roll too as a form of pie. I'll tell you why. Yes, sausage roll as a form of pie. We have fish pie. We have 3 types of pie: meat pie, chicken pie, fish pie, and let us put sausage roll also as a form of pie. Why? Because the definition of pie is rolled out pastry crust. That is a pastry crust, a pastry covering, anything that you cover ingredients, there's something inside. The roll is a rolled out pastry crust. The pastry crust is like a hard, tough surface that is rolled out, and by the time you roll it out, you find out you roll out filling. It has to have a filling. Sausage roll has a filling. Meat pie has a filling, right? Fish pie, the filling is what? What's the filling for fish pie? Fish pie, what's the filling? What do you put inside fish pie? Yeah, it's the fish. So what do you put inside meat pie? It's the meat. So any pastry crust with a filling is a pie. Okay? Some people have, in other European countries, they have apple pie. It's apples they put inside. It's a pie. Do you get what I'm saying? So any pastry crust with a filling is a pie. Apple pie, fish pie, chicken pie. The filling for chicken pie is what? Chicken. Major filling. There are other ingredients you can put. You can still see. What other things do you see in the chicken pie? Carrots. You can see. It depends on how rich you want it to be. Yes, it depends on how rich. You can see some potato, sweet potato. You can see spring onions. You can see. It depends on how rich you want your pie to be. It is still an added filling to that chicken pie. Fruit pie for people that like vegetables, fruits, vegetarians. They put apple, they put all manners of fruits inside, and they cover up with a pastry crust, and it's also called what? Pie. So we'll be doing either chicken pie or meat pie. There's fish pie too. Some pies can be fried, and two methods of preparation of pies. Either you fry it or you bake it. In Nigeria, we do the two. We do some fish pie that are fried. We do some that are baked. And why I say sausage roll is also a form of pie is because the shape is different, but it's still a filling, right? So it could be also in that category we are talking about. Do you understand? Good. So any questions thus far? The ingredients for pies now, as those ingredients: flour, margarine, compulsory, cold margarine preferably. That is, it's cold. It's, then cold water. In making of this pastry course, we need cold water, specifically cold water. Then we have optional flavoring, artificial flavoring, and sugar is also optional because some pastry courses don't need sugar. They are not to taste of sugar. Nut is optional. And baking powder. If you are a sweet coated person, you can, but baking powder and sugar are also part of what we need. Am I understood now?
Yes.
So can you give me the list of what have to make? Then the filling of your choice. It could be chicken, filling. It could be rich or light. Chicken, vegetables, carrots, and so on. Vegetables, carrots, and so on. Very good. Any question? Any question?
What is the main ingredient?
Sausage roll could be, it depends on your feeling. Is it gala you want to use? That is, is it chicken frank? Or is it fish? Or is it sausage roll?